LinkedIn, YouTube, and Instagram. Welcome to the Coaches Cafe on Figured Out Friday with your girl Regina, the plant-based boss. So happy to be in the space this morning. As always, I encourage you to share this content and share it out because what we share is very valuable, and we want to make sure that if you have someone that you know and or love battling the big four, high blood pressure, type 2 diabetes, high cholesterol, or carrying excess weight, we want you to give them practical things that's sustainable. Welcome to the Coaches Cafe. Good morning, Roz. Thank you so much for pulling up. Thank you over there on Facebook. Not sure if you all have paid attention or that you have some awareness, but May is Stroke Awareness Month. And we have been leaning into the space of May being Mental Health Awareness Month, which is true, whole true. But today, I want to highlight and make some connections with our diet and how can we put ourselves on track to either prevent a stroke or just have some basic information that again parallels our diet, our nutrition to these chronic lifestyle conditions. So, welcome to the space. For those who are new to me, I'm Regina Lack, a licensed certified social worker, as well as a lifestyle behavior specialist, lifestyle behavior consultant. And I work with organizations, teams, and community groups in order to provide information, education, and pretty soon, thanks to Food for Life, I will also be providing in-person cooking classes. So today's conversation is so powerful, it's so meaningful to me because one of the silent threats to our health that could lead to a stroke is actually high cholesterol. And that is something I have battled with over the years. I'm still in the fight because it's my everyday decisions that determine if I lose the fight and go from borderline to crossing the line. That is not my desire. So here we are. You're not alone on your health journey. So make sure you share this out. Let me say this, whether you're tuning in from LinkedIn, catching this on Facebook or YouTube, thank y'all so much, Instagram, or if you're just watching the replay, I want you to drop a comment like, where are you pulling up from? Where are you streaming from this morning? And so this is wonderful that you're here today and willing to share this information out. So we're going to actually pull back because I have tangibles here for you to see. So we're going to pull back the curtain on my daily meal plan. I've been talking about it. Thank you for joining over on Facebook. Hey, good morning, Sharon. Thank you. Thank you. Y'all share this out because we are going to be very specific today. And as we go forward, I will be very specific, providing you with, hey, okay, Regina, you're saying I need to do this. Show me how. Good morning. Good morning, DeBlair. Thank you for pulling up. Today, we're going to be having a conversation, just really dialing it all the way back to my journey and what I do on a daily basis. Now, my nutritional goals, my meal plan that I'm going to show you that has helped me to keep my cholesterol where it's supposed to be. Good morning, DJ from Jackson. Keep my cholesterol is where it's supposed to be is based on my personal goals. My personal goals. So I want to remind everyone right here. Here is my disclaimer. Yes, I'm a licensed certified social worker. I'm not a practicing therapist. I do not practice therapy. I want you also to know that I'm not a dietitian, a nutritionist, or a medical provider. As a licensed certified social worker and your integrative health specialist, your integrative health consultant, I provide educational and behavior support services focused on lifestyle. See, my focus is on the lifestyle practices that may support your overall wellness and preventable chronic health conditions. Okay, so I just want to make sure I get that disclaimer out that I'm not a nutritionist. I'm not giving you nutritional guidance or advice. The program is for educational purposes only and not to replace any medical advice your doctor has provided you or your care practitioner has provided you. Always seek a medical professional when you're making adjustments, especially if you're on medications. Okay. All right. So that's my disclaimer to you all this morning. Thank you all so much for pulling up. The conversation today is, and this is what I framed it as. If you're on Facebook, you see the title, it says Diet Over DNA and Stroke Prevention. Diet over DNA and stroke prevention. Here is the deal. A silent threat, type this in the comments, a silent threat to cardiac events such as a stroke is high cholesterol. And I have a low cholesterol meal plan that I am going to actually walk you through. But again, my meal plan is based on my goals. Make sure you have your water, y'all. That's every day and every Friday. Make sure you are pulling up and getting half your healthy body weight in water. I'm gonna do a whole lesson on that. But we are addressing the fact that it's National Stroke Awareness Month. And this conversation is all too often we believe that just because people in our families have had a condition, somebody in my family has had a stroke, and for a long time, you see people, whether it's your parents, your grandparents, uncles, aunts, who have suffered from high blood pressure, heart disease, high cholesterol, or even strokes. One of the things that we tend to say is, that just runs in our family, and that's just very common. We just have that is a common practice. That's just common. It's in our DNA, and so we just want to make sure we set the record straight that we don't have to accept a future of chronic illness. We do not, type that in the comments, we do not have to accept a future of chronic illness. Neither do we have to accept a future of symptom management. You do not have to manage symptoms for the rest of your life. We do not, I'm going to repeat it again, we do not have to accept a future of chronic illness, long-term 40, 50-year chronic illness, nor do we have to accept symptom management for the rest of your life. We don't. I'm here to tell you and remind you, as I continue to remind you when I pull up across the week with my content, is that your DNA, type this in the comment, your DNA is a blueprint. Type that in the comment. Your DNA is a blueprint, not a life sentence. Not a life sentence. Your genetics, I'll make it plain for you. Your genetics, your DNA may put the bullet in the gun. However, it is your daily decisions, your daily lifestyle that pull the trigger. I want you to understand 85 to 90%, if not higher, of the chronic conditions that people live with are preventable. That's research facts. That's not just Regina saying it. So the entire foundation of my philosophy, if you're on Facebook, you see the title, Diet Over DNA. Type that in the comments, Diet Over DNA. And thank y'all for participating out here on LinkedIn, Facebook, YouTube. Thank y'all so much for participating. Diet over DNA. When I say diet, I don't mean a restrictive, miserable, I'm on this weight loss, program. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about a fad, and I'm certainly not talking about pills, powders, procedures, or injections. And I shall repeat that. I'm not talking about a diet that you're on for 21 days, 60 days. I'm not talking about pills, powders, procedures. Thank you, Moni B. I'm not talking about pills, powders, procedures, or injections. Your diet. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Thank you so much. Your diet, determines your destiny, not your DNA. Your diet determines your destiny, not your DNA. And so, what I mean when Regina, the plant based boss, speaks about your diet, we're going at it from two angles. Number one, your diet is your decisions, your influences, your environment, and your thinking. DIET, your decisions, your influences, your environment, and your thinking. Your diet over your DNA. What decisions will I make? How will I structure my environment? What are my influences that is contributing to the decisions that I make? And definitely how we're looking at that thing. So I'm talking about an actual protocol, not a prescription. There's a difference. A protocol for living your optimal health and not a prescription. So, your daily nutritional protocol, your daily lifestyle protocol, for actual cellular renewal. And that's what my meal plan will get at. I'm going to share that with you all. If you're just now joining, thank you all so much for joining. I'm Regina Lacken, the plant-based boss. Type in the comment, because if you are new to me, I want you to understand what boss is. It's not BOSS, because ain't nobody been no boss in a long time around here. We don't boss BOSS. It's BAWSE. And that is my reminder that every day I get to make decisions to become a well soul every day. That's what boss represents. BAWSE, becoming a well soul every day. And so our decisions, our influences, our environment, and our thinking contributes to whether I become a well soul every day or an unwell soul every day. Let's get into this conversation. Thank y'all so much. I'm going to walk y'all through a typical day of my eating and what supports me, because for years, hello, you are not alone. For years, okay, for years, I have struggled with borderline high cholesterol. And I say struggle because, again, it is my daily decisions that contribute to whether I cross that line. And let me just tell y'all right now, diet over DNA. I can't be blaming my mama, my grandmama, bless his soul, my dad, even though he had high cholesterol. I can't blame that dude. Even though he could cook, I was over there eating up his good food. I cannot blame him. I cannot blame my parents. I cannot blame Annie Mae Smith. I cannot blame Booker T. Smith, my grandmother, my grandfather. I cannot even blame Nana Ruth Johnson. Okay, my grandmother on my dad's side. I cannot blame them. So that's your reminder that you have free agency to make a decision. I'm breaking it right here. The buck stops right here. So that's our conversation for today. My specific. It's been years. When I went to the doctor, let me just tell y'all, for those that don't know, I was shocked that I was borderline high cholesterol. Here's why. I was a runner. I was eating healthy. And at the time, I actually weighed less than 140 pounds. Now, who think they got high cholesterol and weighing less than 140 pounds? Baby, no. Especially I was running, training for half marathons. Oh my goodness. I was like, ma'am. But shout out to Dr. Kimberly Smash. She said, girl, you got 3 months to get it together. You gonna be on medication. And so I decided that I would recover what did not look like it was recoverable. And that's my health. Type that in the comments if you're still with me out there on Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube. If it's preventable, then it's reversible. Type that in the comments. If it's preventable, then it's reversible. So now let's look at what I'm going to say. Let's look at the science around this thing. Strokes are primarily driven by 2 massive modifiable risk factors. Today's conversation is diet over DNA and stroke prevention. A silent threat is high cholesterol. So if you're battling high cholesterol, you're battling high blood pressure, that is a silent threat that could lead to a stroke. May is Stroke Awareness Month. Okay. And so, two factors that are preventable, two preventable risk factors. Type this in the comments: high blood pressure and clogged arteries. Clogged arteries caused by LDL cholesterol, which is your bad cholesterol. That's what your girl battled with, that bad cholesterol. So I had to make some intentional decisions that said, yeah, although my grandmother was on dialysis, which means that she had kidney problems, yeah, although my grandfather, had a heart, just passed on. God, glory to God, took him on. My dad had a massive heart attack, like, and he left here too in 2020 at the height of COVID. He had the things. Like, I tell you, I can talk about my dad because he ain't gonna get mad at me. He ain't gonna say that. But so that you will know that even though you can have a predisposition to any type of condition, it is your lifestyle, that things that you have to put in submission. You have to put your eating in submission so that you don't get the condition. Type that in the comment. I've got to put my eating in submission if I don't want to get the condition. I'm talking about me, y'all. And if it applies to you, just say ouch or type it in the comments. Because here's the deal: my father, he was obese. He battled the big four, what I call the big four: high blood pressure, type 2 diabetes, high cholesterol, and he was obese, right? He lived how he knew how to live. I didn't have this information when I was growing up. I have it now. So now I can make informed decisions about my health. Now you can make informed decisions about your health. Not only if it's preventable, then it's reversible. But here's my ask of you: I want you to make a decision that you're going to recover the recoverable. Type that in the comments. I'm going to recover the recoverable. The recoverable is my health, and your health is recoverable. You do not have to manage symptoms for 20 and 30 years. You do not have to be on medication. Again, let me make my disclaimer. I am not a nutritionist. I'm not a medical provider, but I am a licensed certified social worker. I am have several certifications in plant-based nutrition, but I do want to make that disclaimer. This is for your educational information only. Trust, and I want you to verify what I'm saying. Always check with your medical provider. But I'm going to walk you through what has helped me to put my condition in remission. Let's start out. My nutrition is based on, like I said, my specific goals. My specific goals is that I'm working to gain lean muscle, right? And I want to maintain a figure so that I can continue to run, so that I continue to have good cardiovascular health. I do a moderate amount of cardio, but let me just say that conditioning and weightlifting is good for your brain health. Okay. Don't be afraid of them weights. You just have to know what you're doing. So here is, type this in the comment. I'm going to give you 3 protections that generally, I'm saying generally, just the norm in general. If you apply some general things to your life, you'll have some significant changes, right? Again, borderline high cholesterol. I know what it looks like to have chronic health conditions in your life personally, not just something I heard. And so the work that is required. So you may not like the things that I show you, but I'm showing you what Regina does and what I've done to help me to stay on my pathway for better health so I can live well. My breakfast typically consists of, when it's hot now, I like to meal prep. Freebie on a Friday. Meal prep will save your life. It's a game changer, whether you got kids or not. I don't have any kids that live in my household, but meal prep is a game changer. Type that in the comments. So my meals typically consist of, in the summer when it's warm, I want something cool in the morning, but I also want something that is going to sustain me and provide me with slow energy so that I don't have that crash. I.e. organizations, companies, and supervisors where y'all be having the breakfast and y'all be giving the people the donuts and they crash by 9:30. It's the sugar. Just FYI. Get the folks some overnight oats. My morning start with overnight oats. I have it here. I don't know if you can see it real good. There you go. There you go. My overnight oats. This is what I call that my morning vascular shield. My vascular shield to help protect my vascular health. My berry overnight oats. Let me tell y'all, because I'm working specifically on my health goals, I have in here 1 scoop of plant based protein. I have a cup of oat milk. I have chia seeds, and my last ingredients are blueberries. So I'm traveling this weekend. So here's my travel for Saturday. Be prepared when you travel, because that right there is a trick of the enemy. Let me just tell y'all that right now. A couple of weeks ago when I traveled, I did not prepare and I was eating out, even still plant-based. I gained some weight. I didn't like that. So this week, I got my own food that I'll be taking. So let me just tell y'all, when we talk about May is Stroke Awareness Month, and the reason why I am showing you all these oats, overnight oats, you may not like overnight oats. You may want your oats cooked. I don't like oatmeal. Figure out something that you like that is going to promote your health. I'm sharing again what I do. And so, right here from the start of my breakfast, the soluble fiber, let me tell y'all about this. There is a specific soluble fiber, I hate to sound all sciencey, called beta glucan that is helped to be like a sponge, and so it pulls out all of the cholesterol out your digestive tract. It literally binds the cholesterol molecules and drags them out of your body. So whether it's oats, whatever it is, your main thing is that you want some soluble fibers in your system. Here is your freebie on a Friday: about 30 grams of fiber a day. You need about 30 grams of fiber a day. Ask your medical provider, but I do know that much. You need about 30 grams of fiber a day to help you pull out, one, the cholesterol, and two, to help you go regularly. Okay. So it literally binds that cholesterol molecule and drags them out of your body before they can enter your bloodstream, right? And deposit that plaque, which clogs the artery going to your brain. We don't want any clogged arteries. That's how you wound up having a stroke. So I start my day with my vascular shield, with my soluble fibers that go ahead on and pull out all of that cholesterol before it can hit my bloodstream. If you are not eating some measure of soluble fibers, message me and I can provide you with some guidance around that. Berries are, if you did not know, berries are, wow, they are loaded with antioxidants. You need the antioxidants and folate that are in your berries, particularly blueberries, right? But you can do blueberries, strawberries. Good morning, Patricia. You can do blueberries, strawberries, raspberries. And so that's just my blueberries are just my preference, right? We're talking about these overnight oats, your vascular shield. And so here's the thing: folate lowers an amino acid in your system called homocysteine. I know I sound sciencey, but you are going to want to get your berries in your life. If you get like a half a cup of berries in your meal plan a day, you're going to be spot on. Because here's the deal: folate lowers that particular amino acid, which is directly linked to blood clots. Again, if we do not prevent the blood clots, that can be a pathway towards you having a stroke. A silent threat to your cardiac health, to a stroke, is high cholesterol. I want to say one more time that if you get around 30 grams of soluble fiber in your meal plan a day, you're going to be in a good position to generally prevent having high cholesterol. And here's your bonus: this right here is 28 grams of clean, non-inflammatory plant right out of the gate to stabilize your morning, to stabilize your blood sugar so you don't crash. And you can have a mental focus and a cognitive focus across the day. I start my morning with my vascular shield. If you don't like cold oats, you may want to do oatmeal. Oatmeal, old school steel cut oatmeal. I am not talking about the oatmeal, the brown sugar oatmeal in those little packs. I encourage you all, make sure you're reading your labels, make sure you're looking at your sugar content, because I'm gonna do a whole series in June showing you how to read your ingredients, because I've been telling y'all to read your ingredients. You don't even know what you're reading. So you may not, excuse me, you may not know what you're reading and understand it. So I'm going to do a series and we'll focus on reading and understanding your ingredients. We're going to do that in June. So your vascular shield, I started out with these overnight oats. I have, from a macro standpoint, 30 grams of protein, 8 grams of fat. Fat is not your enemy, and 18 grams of carbs. I know y'all are afraid of carbs, but carbs is the body's preferred source of energy. Just in case you did not know, carbs is the body's preferred source of energy. But you got to have the right carbs. Sweet potatoes is not the enemy, and we're about to get to that. Midday. This is what I call my blood pressure regulator. Type that in the comment. If you're struggling with high blood pressure, look, high cholesterol, I'm telling you, the answer to all of it is the same. But because it's Stroke Awareness Month, we're focusing on two things. Number one, the silent threat of high cholesterol, and then number two, high blood pressure, which are preventable risk factors that can lead you to a cardiac event, such as a stroke. And we don't want that. We don't want that for you, and we definitely don't want that for your family. So we're gonna hit number two, my lunch, my blood pressure regulator. How do you regulate your blood pressure without medications? Now, let me say this: if you on medications, talk to your medical provider about any kind of changes before you decide to make those changes. But let me say this: I want you, if you're struggling with high blood pressure, high cholesterol, or type 2 diabetes, I want you in my 5-week intensive, so that when you talk to your doctor, now we're going to go do the work. Some of us don't. That's right. And I am going to help you. No shame over here. Baby, I didn't know either. I didn't know either. Let me tell y'all something. Thank you for sharing it over on YouTube. I didn't know about reading labels anyway. Then we're going to get back to the blood pressure regulator. I didn't know myself. And so I wound up when I first went plant-based back in 2020. Yeah, I didn't know what I was doing. I'm around here picking up all this faux meat and fake stuff and thinking, oh, this plant-based, girl, y'all, sir, no ma'am, no sir, no ma'am. Y'all, I gained so much weight, I look like a little like a little blimp. I was like, oh my God, if this the plant-based life, oh my. And so I had to learn about ultra processed foods and how do I have the proper combinations of my macros. Now I will eat a whole sweet potato. There was a time you couldn't pay me to eat a sweet potato because, oh, you don't need them carbs. You carbs. Carbs is the body's preferred source of energy. So let's get into the blood pressure regulator. This is my lunch. And so for lunch, when I say meal prep, I cook enough for about 3 to 4 days. I know some people do not like leftovers. God bless you. Okay. God bless you. I don't have any children in my home, but I definitely don't want to cook every day. Somebody say amen. Amen. God is good. I don't cook every day. I live a lifestyle that requires my immediate attention. It requires me to be able to move in a way that's comfortable for me. And I ain't that moving don't mean moving in the kitchen every day. The answer is no. So I meal prep, right? And so my overnight oats, this is our breakfast. This is our vascular regulator, our overnight oats. Traveling this weekend, so I'll be taking my oats with me. So for lunch, the blood pressure regulator. You don't have to eat tofu. Again, these are things that I eat for very specific purposes. I have, if you can see it in my bowl, we have Tofu, that is not chicken. Thank you. That is not chicken. That is tofu. We have red quinoa and we have broccoli. Now, typically I would have a roasted sweet potato, but I did not have sweet potatoes, so I was not going to the store to buy sweet potatoes. Use what you already have before you go out and get some more. So, this is my blood pressure regulator. I switch out between the broccoli. I will switch it out for steamed kale and edamame. Oh my gosh. I love me some edamame. They're high in protein, right? So you actually get to have some added protein. So this is my typical lunch. Let me tell y'all this. If you're struggling with your blood pressure, foods that are high in carbs, that then your carb turn to sugar and sugar turn to fat, all those things impact whether or not your health markers move, whether or not you have that 2 o'clock crash. So my macros for lunch, let me just tell you all, a half a cup of cooked quinoa, 150 grams. I used to measure it out, but I know it now. But my extra firm tofu. Typically, I would have sweet potatoes, which will be a fourth of that. Not a whole sweet potato. Let me just clarify. Also, I'm going to do some lessons on portion sizes to walk with you through that. Okay. So it's very important. Somebody tell you, oh, you need to eat this. Okay, well, I'm eating this sweet potato. No, baby, not the whole sweet potato, especially if y'all going over there to McAllister's and get the big old gangster sweet potatoes. No, them big gangster white potatoes with all. No, that's not what I'm talking about. You can have carbs. I'm going to walk you through how to do this. So my lunch consists of, this is a power bowl. This is my tofu power bowl. Again, tofu here, not chicken. I have red quinoa and I have broccoli. That is my blood pressure regulator. And typically I would have sweet potatoes in there. So let me just roll down my macros for you. That's 84 grams of carbs, 44 grams of protein, and 9 grams of fat. Now, the average person do not need 44 grams of protein. I'm working from a very specific place. I have very specific goals. The average person, the average female, you need about 45 to 55 grams of protein. The average male who's not just, active running and lifting, you don't need all that protein. I am working on very specific goals. Again, my disclaimer, I'm not a nutritionist. I'm sharing with you what has helped me to reduce my cholesterol issue and to help me reach my health goals, where I was weighing 30 pounds. Believe it or not, if you message me, I'm going to send you the picture. So DM me or message me, send me a message and say, girl, I want to see that picture. I will send you the side-by-side picture when I weigh 30 pounds more than what I weigh right now. So I'm sharing with you my journey and an opportunity just to inform and educate you. So your kale, you want to have your plate for your vegetables. Your plate, to have a power plate or a power bowl, you won't have your plate in that vegetable. And so sometimes I sprinkle a little lemon juice and garlic on here to give it a nice little kick. But also sometimes I put a little plant-based ranch dressing on the side as my little dipper. So that's what I do for that. So that is my protein power bowl, my blood pressure regulator. You want to get, if you want to get the greens in your system, whether it's kale, collard green, not cabbage green, kale, your broccoli and spinach. So some of those and your edamame, edamame is going to provide you a protein. Sometimes I have a snack. I did not bring a smoothie over here, but depends on my day. I will have a protein smoothie, and that's just going to be real simple. Plant protein, plant milk, and the berries. Again, and the berries. Sometimes I put raw nuts in it and sometimes I don't. So that is if I need something extra like a snack. Don't be snacking on them little sugar bars. Don't be snacking on them peanuts. Look at your peanuts. They're healthy fat, but guess what? That's just fat, right? I want you to make some options, make some swaps, small swaps that's going to help you shift your health, right? And so, if we want to address the two preventable risk factors, silent factors that can contribute to a stroke, May is Stroke Awareness Month, not just Mental Health Awareness Month, right? So, two silent threats to your health. Number one is high cholesterol. What can we do about our high cholesterol? Make some modifications to our nutrition. Number two, what can I do about my blood pressure? I just gave you a blood pressure regulating meal. I just gave you a blood pressure regulating meal. Here's the deal. Let me give you a little free information. For those of you who are afraid of carbs, they done told y'all I'm on a low carb, high fiber. You need high fiber. You want low fat. But if you're on a no carb diet, I want you to understand that carbs are the body's preferred source of energy. Type it in the comments if you're still with me on LinkedIn, Facebook, YouTube, and type in the comments, carbs is not the enemy. Carbs is not the enemy. Let me just tell y'all a little bit about sweet potatoes and kale. They are high in potassium. A lot of people are actually hospitalized due to low potassium. In case you did not know that, I was at the hospital a couple of weeks ago, and there was a young lady who was there with a loved one who had been hospitalized because of their low potassium. So, sweet potatoes, put this in the comment because when you type and when you write, it sticks with you. Or make sure you go back and catch the replay also. Sweet potatoes and kale are high in potassium. They are potassium powerhouses. If you want to have any staple in your house, it's a sweet potato and berries. Sweet potatoes and berries, you want to keep those in your house. You want to keep them. So, high blood pressure is the single leading cause of stroke. High blood pressure is the single leading cause of stroke because it damages and weakens your blood vessels over time. High blood pressure, I want to help you. High blood pressure is the leading cause of stroke because it damages and weakens your blood vessels over time. Okay? Here's the good news, all right? Here's the good news. Potassium, which you're going to get from your potatoes, and stop saying you don't like kale. And even if you don't like kale, eat them sweet potatoes, but do not, I repeat, do not put all that sugar on them sweet potatoes. Get you some cinnamon, okay? Drizzle you a little cinnamon on that sweet potato, and it's going to taste amazing, okay? Potassium acts as a natural counterweight for that. It acts as a natural counterweight. It relaxes your blood vessels and flushes out excess fluid. Not too many bananas. I see somebody asking about bananas. Not too many bananas because they're high on the glycemic, and I'm gonna do a whole lesson on that. But they're high in sugar, and so sugar turns to fat, and so that can lead to another health condition. If you are diabetic or pre-diabetic, and sugar turns to fat. And the thing with that is we think that diabetes is a sugar issue. It's actually a fat issue, because what happens is the sugar is left in your bloodstream, and so it looks like it's a sugar issue, but there is so much fat restricting in your it is not breaking down and getting to where it needs to be. So I'm going to do a whole, let me write that down. I want to add that so I can give you the things. In June, we're just going to do a whole nutrition series. So make sure that you're sending me these. You're sending me these questions and content that you want to hear from a nutrition standpoint, because that's what we're going to hit on and lean in into June, right? But that is a very good question. Not too many bananas. Your sweet potato, your sweet potato and your kale are going to be your main potassium powerhouses. Potassium acts as a natural counterweight to sodium. So a lot of times we have a lot of people like sodium, and we're going to talk about that as well. But what happens is your potassium, eating the right count of potassium, source of potassium, helps to relax your blood vessel walls, flushes out excess fluid, right? And then naturally, I repeat, naturally drives your blood pressure down. And so here is the beautiful thing when we're talking about the two preventable risk factors, and the two silent threats to a cardiac event, whether it's a heart attack or a stroke, and that is your high blood pressure and your cholesterol. So here is a fact. Type this, you're welcome. Type this in the comment. Cholesterol is only found in animal products. Cholesterol is only found in animal products. By building a fuel system around plant-based nutrition, whether it's tofu, whether it's beans, your power plate every day should consist of fruits, grains, legumes, and vegetables. So by building a power plate without animal products, you're eating 100% cholesterol-free meals that keeps your arterial walls completely smooth and clear. So I've done challenges where I have people who've had high blood pressure, high cholesterol, and type 2 diabetes. I did an 8-week challenge back in August, and everybody, like most people, I'm not going to say everybody lost weight during that time period. They transitioned to a whole food or even a modified plant-based protocol that I provided them. It's a protocol, not a diet. And so I provided that to them. Let me tell y'all, when they reported out those astounding results that they went to the doctor and those labs were significant in the changes, talk to your doctor. If you remove animal products from your nutritional profile for 30 days, if you remove animal products from your nutritional profile for 30 days, generally, you're going to see health benefits. Okay. Yes. Over here on YouTube, I started chickpeas. Honey, there is so much that you can do with chickpeas. I'm gonna make a note on that. I might tell y'all what I do with chickpeas. But so thank y'all for sharing that. So when we're talking about addressing cardiac events, when we're talking about preventing stroke, making these modifiable changes, if you are willing to fight for your health, if you're willing to recover the recoverable, one of the things I want you to bite into your space is the elimination of I can't eat that. I can't eat that. That's one of the things I want you to eliminate. I want to encourage you to have some new tries. And so when you eat, this is why people cholesterol numbers drop when they switch to a whole food plant-based nutritional protocol. It drops because plants have no cholesterol. If you want to put your condition or your precondition in remission, we've got to put our eating in submission. Period. Is it hard? Baby, yeah. Can we do it? Absolutely. Why? We can do hard things. We can do hard things together. That's what doing life well is all about. So your blood pressure regulator, I gave you a blood pressure regulating meal, high in potassium. You got your potassium fighting foods. Sweet potatoes and kale are a powerhouse. Get you some sweet potatoes in your house. They are a powerhouse. That is what I call my blood pressure regulator meal for the day. And then in the evenings, let's talk about dinner. Let's talk about dinner. What does dinner look like? We kind of rinse and repeat. Here's why. What I tell y'all on the front side, I meal prep. I don't like being in the kitchen like that. I ain't told nobody I like to cook. I ain't tell y'all that. I do like to live a well life, so I meal prep. So because I know y'all busy, drop in the comments if you want to cook every day. Like somebody do, but most people don't. So for dinner, my meal looks precisely. Typically for lunch, I'm gonna have that sweet potato, but then for dinner, type this in the comment. My dinner is my restorative cellular repair. How do I repair at a cellular level? How do I repair at a cellular level? This is deeper than the surface. How do I get this stuff in my system, y'all? Quinoa, sweet potato, and broccoli with tofu. It's the same combination, but it is the amount that I'm using. I'm switching up the amount. I eat more for lunch than I do for dinner. So my macros, again, I told y'all we're gonna hit them carbs, we're gonna get our protein, and we're gonna eat a little fat because your body needs a little fat, right? And I understand that some people are on these no fat, no carb diet. That is not sustainable. Just FYI, your freebie on a Friday. Listen, she said, "Cooking ain't my ministry. It ain't mine either, right? I'm not cooking. I don't want to cook every day, but I'm excited that I'll start live cooking demonstrations in July, and you guys will have an opportunity to be a part of it. So our dinner. Type this in the comments. Dinner at the restorative cellular level. How do I reset getting ready for dinner? I want to close out my day by hitting my final macro targets. That is complex carbohydrates. Type in the comments carbohydrates. We eat carbohydrates around here. I want y'all to go out this weekend and get y'all some sweet potatoes. Go get you some sweet potatoes in your house and get you some broccoli and get you some blueberries for your overnight oats. I want at least 3 people to try overnight oats and let me know. Drop in the comments across this week. I may send you something. Y'all, let's get this health going on. So at the end of the day, we're looking at our complex carbohydrates, which is our sweet potato, and our what we call cruciferous vegetables. That's like your broccoli. And so I want you to get those cruciferous vegetables in your system. And broccoli contains a compound called sulforaphane, which is an additive and acts, just say it acts as an anti-inflammatory. Don't worry about all them fancy words. What you say, don't worry about the fancy words. Broccoli acts as an anti-inflammatory defense in your blood vessels. Broccoli acts as an anti-inflammatory. So you're going to want to eat you some broccoli. And if you got young children, medium-sized children, find a vegetable that they like. That's green. Everybody, if you don't raise them eating it, they ain't gonna eat it. If your children tell you what they ain't gonna eat at 3 and 4 years old, that's because you let them do that. Don't let them children start out telling y'all what they ain't gonna eat and then end up with junior diabetes and then grown people diabetes. That's what we want to prevent. I eat carbs, sweet potatoes, or not one of them. Okay, I need to learn. Well, what carbs are you eating and what are you putting on them? I'm just asking. Because there are a number of carbs that you can eat that are healthy. Sweet potatoes just happen to be one of the powerhouses. They just happen to be one of the powerhouses. So here's the deal. By keeping, did y'all hear me say anything about macaroni and cheese, white rice? I did not. And I'll tell y'all about that. Y'all know I talk about cheese all the time. By keeping my dinner clean, Gotcha. And sometimes your body have to adjust to new things. No on the overnight oats gave me so much gas. Gotcha. I understand it. I do understand it. So by keeping my dinner clean, when we're talking about restorative cellular repair, when I keep my dinner light, clean, and nutrient dense, I got all my nutrients in here. My body is not wasting vital energy overnight trying to digest heavy stuff. That's the magic. When you eat heavy, your body have to work hard to digest that stuff. So I'm eating light and I'm eating clean. I don't have any saturated fats to digest. My body trying to break down all these saturated fats. Instead, my body can focus on a deep cellular repair, lowering systemic inflammation, and keeping my cardiovascular system flexible while I sleep. I don't need my body trying to break down some heavy food that I ate at 9 or 10 o'clock at night. What did I put in my oats? Yeah. Yeah. Oh, you talking to this? Okay. Yeah. Love me some rice and pasta. LOL. I love sweet potatoes as well. So when we think about rice over here, I want you to consider adding brown rice, adding quinoa, those other grains. Pasta is not the enemy. There are several plant-based pasta. You can try chickpea pasta. So, and then with the chickpea pasta, you're not only just getting a carb, you're getting a protein. So yes, yes. So thank y'all for all the engagement over here on YouTube and over here on Facebook and LinkedIn. Thank y'all so much. So let me see. When you think about preventing high blood pressure, type 2 diabetes, high cholesterol, and if you struggle with carrying excess weight, starting your day with a berry protein overnight oats or something similar. I choose this for the summer. Sometimes I cook my breakfast, but I'm like that. I don't want to be cooking tofu scramble every day. I don't want to do that. So I meal prep. Meal prep is a good option for you. Midday, we talked about the blood pressure regulators that look like your tofu power bowl, which quinoa, your steamed kale, your sweet potatoes, and your tofu. If you don't like tofu, there are other protein sources. The goal here, the key here is to understand there is no cholesterol found in plants. If you are working to address high cholesterol, I would invite you to consider removing animal products from your meal plan, from your nutritional profile for a period of time. Get your labs done, remove those animal products for a period of time, come back and let your girl know how you feel. So now here's another thing I want to share as we're making some shifts. Eating this way, let me just say this. Some people say, oh, that's very restrictive, but it's really not. It's really liberating. It liberates you from the idea of, is this going to give me something? When you remove animal products, again, I'm just planting seeds and giving you information so that you can make some informed decisions. When you shift your mindset, if I could help you with what I had to give up to what do I get to gain, your entire thought process shifts. When you choose, this is what I chose. When I'm telling you, I battled high cholesterol. I didn't even know I was battling high cholesterol. But when I found out, I did what I knew to do. And what I knew to do was not enough. So now that I've gained more information, you are choosing, you get to make a choice that is going to either fuel your health, and that's what we want to do. We want to prevent our cardiac events. We want to prevent anyone from having a stroke. We want to give you the best opportunity to. So generally, when you make changes, small changes, I'm not telling you to overhaul your meals today, all your meals, but when you make these small changes, you're going to see gains. So you're choosing your arteries, you're choosing brain health. It's important to fight for your health. Medication does not have to be your destination. And if you are on medication, talk to your healthcare provider on making some lifestyle changes because we can repair. The body was designed to heal itself through nutrition. I want you to catch this. If you have high cholesterol, if you, someone you know and or love has high cholesterol, you're borderline high cholesterol, generally, if you remove animal products from your nutritional profile, your cholesterol, your bad cholesterol will generally go down because cholesterol is only found in animal products. If you don't eat it, you won't get it. Type that in the comment. If you don't eat it, you won't get it. So I want you to understand that it is your diet over your DNA. You, unless you was born with, and some people are born with, heart conditions, but if you have type 2 diabetes, high blood pressure, high cholesterol, and this month we are having a conversation about stroke because May is Stroke Awareness Month, making these small dietary changes, making these small nutritional changes, having that conversation with your healthcare provider will prove to you, it proved to me, and it proved to hundreds of people that I have worked with, that it is our daily habits that are louder than my DNA. My daily habits, type that in the comments, are louder than my DNA. And so I don't expect you to change your entire lifestyle this morning or over the weekend. Perfection is the enemy of progress. If you are starting on this journey and you're saying, I want to do something, like I get it. It's Memorial Day weekend. That is a whole nother conversation, y'all. If I could submit anything to you as we're getting ready to close out this conversation, if I could submit anything to you, particularly with cardiac events, i.e., this being Stroke Awareness Month, I challenge you to take one actionable step today to protect your vascular health. I challenge you today, over this weekend, to make a decision to make one actionable step. Drop in the comment. Has this been helpful? Has this conversation been helpful to you all this morning? Has this been helpful? Consider swapping out processed high sodium breakfast, like people like to get them packaged items and give them to their children. High sodium breakfast, for a bowl of, that we'll talk about that in June. Like our cereal aren't created equal, right? Our cereal aren't bad. So we're going to lean into nutrition and foods in the month of June. So I want you to this weekend swap out, take out some things, but take an actionable step. I want you to add 1 cup of leafy greens or broccoli to your dinner plate tonight. And then I want you to come back and comment on this live, on the replay, that whatever green you added, whatever leafy green, whether it was kale, whether it was spinach, whether a big old salad, whatever leafy green you add, I want you to drop that in the comments on the replay for your dinner. Me is going to be broccoli. I'm sticking this in the refrigerator because this is my lunch and it's my dinner. I meal prep. So I also want to remind you to work on YouTube said, I need them Frosted Flakes. I'm going to help you out. I'm going to help you out with them cereal. We're going to talk about cereal and really dive into food. We're going to dive into how do I make this thing sustainable? How do I make this thing sustainable? If it's not sustainable, then we're not going to be able to keep it up. That's why I say no pills, powders, procedures, or injections. Because if you're on a pill, if you're taking some kind of powder, if you have some kind of procedure, or if you're out there getting that monthly injection, is that sustainable? Whole food, plant-based, going and buy you some beans, legumes, fruits, and vegetables, that is sustainable. That is sustainable. I will show you how to, in June, how to have a family-friendly meal plan for $25 that's going to feed a family of 4. I can show you that. I can show you how to have a nutritious family meal plan that feeds a family of 6. that don't require pills, powder, procedures, or injections, and it will be heart healthy. So if you're watching this and you're ready to stop letting family history dictate your future, I want you to say, I am recovering the recoverable. Type that in the comments as we get out. I will recover the recoverable. And my health is recoverable. Listen, if you're out there and you are, struggling with high blood pressure, type 2 diabetes, high cholesterol, or obesity, make sure you continue to stay with me, continue to pull up every Friday for my lives, as well as engage with the content that I send out. But if you are looking for more, I will have a cohort starting in July. So that gives you time to try some of these things that I'm sharing with you. But I want to invite you into that space. We can recover the recoverable. When I looked at my family's history, it easily looked like it was not recoverable, because I've had several family members who have had strokes. They did not make it. I also have had people in my family who have had strokes and they did make it, right? I've had people who've had heart attacks and they did not make it. And so I've had my grandmother was on dialysis. So when you look at the picture of my history, it could look like, girl, you stand in line. And so instead of getting on the bus of chronic illness, I let that bus pass by me. It stopped in front of me. When I say the bus stopped in front of me, being borderline high cholesterol was an invitation to get on the bus by keep doing what I was doing and end up with high cholesterol, or choose not to get on the bus, stand firm, and figure this thing out. That's what we're doing on Figured Out Friday, where you no longer have to figure it out alone. I thank y'all so much for spending time with me this morning. I'm glad this has been helpful. I am inviting you to add some green leafy vegetables. I'm also inviting you to increase your water intake if you're not drinking water. First of all, if you're not drinking water at all, don't go out there trying to drink half your healthy body weight in water. I just want you to drink some water. Start with 8 ounces, 16, work your way up. But if you're already in a routine of drinking water, I encourage you to drink your healthy body weight, half of that in ounces. So that's what I have for you all this morning. Thank you so much for pulling up. Diet over DNA is the way to go. Diet over DNA. That is your decisions, your influences, your environment, and your thinking. That's how we shift our health. That is how we recover the recoverable. And guess what? Your health is recoverable. Thank y'all so much for pulling up with Regina, the plant-based boss. I will see you all on next Friday. Be sure to engage with my content across the week. If there are specific health-related, nutrition-related topics, recipes, meal plans that you want to, meal guides, protocol that you want to see in June, I will be leaning into nutrition education in June. And in the upcoming month, it won't be June, it will be July. I have a very busy month for traveling in June, but I will be starting live cooking demonstrations for you all to attend. So again, thank y'all so much for pulling up on this Figured Out Friday, where you no longer have to figure it out alone, because what we know is if it's preventable, then it's reversible. And then our charge is to recover the recoverable. And yes, our health, oh yeah, it's recoverable. I will see you all next week. Y'all have a great weekend. Thank y'all for pulling up, and make sure you share the content and my profile. Y'all have a beautiful weekend. Thanks so much.